That adit I just checked out is directly behind me. You can see some of the waste rock piles there, and a workshop or something here in front of me, which looks like it's got some interesting stuff parked in front of it. Starting with this Fiat, which looks a bit like a Jeep, but instead is a Fiat. Although I suppose Fiat owns Jeep Chrysler now, so they're all one and the same now, but they weren't back when this was made, I can guarantee you that. Interesting, interesting. That looks like it'd be fun to drive, actually. And then there's a bulldozer up here. Okay, that bulldozer is a Fiat, in case you couldn't make out the Fiat right there. So the Italians stayed loyal to their national brands. And over here, this looks like a drill. This is a drill. You see the drill bit right here. That's been used too. And you know what? This drill is attached to the bulldozer. That is nuts. I've never seen that before. So okay, so here's the drill right here. And you see it's bolted on to the blade of the bulldozer here. And then the pneumatic hoses and things like that run along here. You see there's more of it there. They run along here to where it's operated right there. You can see the levers and such right there. I'm sorry the light is terrible right now. But you can see the levers and such to operate the drill there. That is wild. I've never seen that before. Normally they have specialized drilling machines, but I've never seen one just slapped on the side of a bulldozer before. Unreal. Wow. Well, you know, I always say miners have a lot of ingenuity, and that would seem to be the case for the Italians as well. So our special drilling bulldozer is right there, and looks like we've got some workshops or something here. This one's full of barrels. This one's got a bunch of equipment inside. I can't even, you can probably see it better than I can because I can't see as well as the camera can through that crack. Alright, looking at more equipment and barrels and that sort of thing in here. They sure got a lot going on here. Continuing on along the edge of the building here, see more barrels and a bunch of equipment in there. And over here, I don't know if that's even coming across in the camera or not. It's super bright out here and dark in there, so I don't know if that's working or not. Then pulling away from the side of the building, I see a bunch of muckers parked over here. Ah, one last look inside. I think that's a Fiat 500. There's a Fiat 500, another Italian mine I visited too, so small cars for big miners, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, these are muckers. Look at this, you guys. That's the back side of one, of course. And there's the scoop in the front there. Haven't hauled anything in this one for a while. Here's the operator's side of this one. There's a bunch of them here. There's 5 of them here. So got the row of muckers here, that Fiat Jeep right there, that workshop here, and you can see the side has collapsed there. And still curious about all those waste rock piles and such up there, so let's head up there and check those out. That workshop and the drilling bulldozer are back that way, and this is all surface work here. And you can actually see it took out the entire mountain. That was formerly the top of the mountain there, and it's been turned into a valley. So aside from the adits, there was a tremendous amount of surface work here as well. That's several hundred feet down to the end that way, and I would guess maybe at least 100 feet wide here, probably more. So they weren't messing around, that's for sure. That's the long section I just came through, and you can see they actually run down even deeper here. That drops quite a ways down. So we'll drop down and see what's down there. So that's where I dropped down from to get deeper into the valley, and you can see it keeps running off that way. There's some sort of wooden, the remains of some sort of wooden platform or something there. There's a view of the sides. And there are a couple interesting rocks in front of me here. That looks like quartz that we're familiar with. And then there's this rock that's got an interesting band running through it. But since I'm not a rock head, I have no idea what that is, but somebody in the audience might. The real reason I stopped here though, or I should say the primary reason I stopped here though, is because of this. Okay, I've gotten down here and it looks like it might go for a bit. There's some definite quartz in front of me here that carries over here as well. Actually, it looks like a whole vein of it here running across, and over there too. So maybe they were chasing something underground here. Alright, I'll get down there and see how it looks. Alright, that's looking back where I just dropped down from. You can see my backpack and stuff there. And to the left, it goes back into, I can't tell if that's a collapse or if they just stopped there. It's really difficult to tell because that's unblasted, unworked rock right there. That's a bit more crumbly though, so it's hard to tell. Moving on, there is an adit running off this way as far as I can see, and then directly to my right is this cave in here, which they I think they just ran the valley. I think this was caved because they kept pushing that valley through and just threw a bunch of dirt down here. So the question now is what's down this one. So I am going to get wet and find out. I'm just about to head into the water, and I noticed 2 things of interest here. The first being these attractive crystals that are growing here. And the second being the skeletal remains of some unfortunate creature here, which is not probably on the top of the list of things you want to see right before you're going into a big adit. So hopefully that is not an indicator of things to come. Alright, down in the water now, and this water is just insanely cold. I don't have waders with me, so I'm feeling cold directly on this one, and it's brutal. Looks like there might be some kind of junction up here. See the remains of some timbers in front of me. And looks like a dead end there, and then there's something going off to the left. Get up there and take a closer look. There's a bar right there. Can't tell if that's for barring down rocks and things like that, or if that's old drill steel. Too hard to tell at this point. Alright, like I said, that goes back there and dead ends. Oh great, and then this comes here and dead ends too. I'll just be sure about this one down here, because I have been fooled before with that kind of thing. So I'm just going to push on until I can be 100% certain there's not anything sneaking off to the left or the right that we would miss. There's a bat right there. Actually, you know what? That's not a that's not a dead end. That's a collapse. You can see all the rubble right there. I'll get a closer look. Hold on. As I was saying a moment ago, this is a collapse here, not a dead end, as it initially looked like. See some of the timbers and such that were here, and collapsed along with all the rock. Seems like these were older workings that they just smashed through when they took out that valley behind us, or I should say transformed the mountain into the valley behind us. I'm leaving the adit now, and on the way out I noticed more crystals, only these crystals are dark. They look almost like moss, but I assure you they're not. So I'm sure some of the rock heads in the audience will be able to tell us the minerals at play here, but I am afraid I do not know. And it's interesting because the white crystals I filmed are just right there, so they're very close. Here's a look at that skeleton. I think it's a sheep, because that looks like a sheep's skull right there, which would make sense given how many sheep there are here. And that's the way out. I've reached the end of that mountain. I turned into a valley here, and there's an interesting notch cut into the side of the mountain here, and there's a fair amount of water here. And so I'm wondering if there's not an adit back there, which would make sense if they simply continued following whatever vein they are following to create that valley into the mountain and kept pursuing it underground. So I'm gonna head up here and see if we can't find an adit. Alright, coming up on an obvious adit here. A bit tough getting through here, so bear with me. Okay, here we are. This does not look promising, unfortunately, because it looks like it's completely collapsed back there. I hope I'm mistaken, but I am not. Yeah, it is completely collapsed here, you guys. I am really sorry, because I would love to have gone into this one. Yeah, unfortunately you can see it's collapsed to the very top. You see the steel sets they put in here, and the remains of some lagging on the side there. So obviously they were correct in their assessment that this one needed some support. And unfortunately we're not going to be able to get in there. There's a look back what we came through to get here. So the flooded adit we just checked out is right there. The valley the miners cleared out, where the other adit we checked out is right there. And then obviously a big flock of sheep is coming right here. You don't see this in very many mining videos. Little lambs right there. That mountain they turned into a valley is on the other side of this here. I came over this side, I just wanted to show you the waste rock piles that came off of this thing. Unfortunately the light's terrible, but they're giant waste rock piles. There's one there, and some more up there. Hopefully that's coming across on video. Again, the light's terrible, but doing the best I can here. There's the shepherd's land rover, which I'm jealous of. I would love to have that. Very friendly guy. He confirmed the barite and the fluorite and such being mined here. So it's good that I was right about that. Indians, I've been told, are kind of suspicious of outsiders and standoffish and aloof. And so far, I've got to say, nothing could be farther from the truth in my experience. I mean, it's a bit sketchy to run across some dude with a bunch of strange electronics and lights and such hanging off him in the middle of nowhere on a mine. And instead, he was, rather than being suspicious or asking me unpleasant questions, he was just super friendly and engaged in what I was doing, interested. Very cool guy. So I'm still coming down the side of the mountain that's turned into a valley. The valley I went through forward's on the other side. And guess what I just found? I found an adit. And a pretty good sized one. You can see a series of timbers there and a ledge of that iron muck right there. And I don't know if this is going to come across on the camera or not, but looking beyond, there's a whole section of timbers, maybe 40 feet past those right there, and they're all smashed down. I'm sorry this is collapsed because this seems a bit more modern than the last one we went into, with the timbers obviously being more new, and I can see, you know, where the timbers are smashed back there. Again, I'm sorry it's not coming across on the zoom, but where the timbers are smashed down back there, I can see there's, in the front of it, there's some fairly sophisticated timber work. So this would seem like it would be an interesting one to explore, but unfortunately, such is the reality of mine exploring. The adit we just checked out is back that way, and rail used to come along here, and this is all waste rock here, and it goes for a ways back to the adit that way, and then continues on to where that trestle was that we saw earlier. If we followed it out this way, again, this is all waste rock I'm walking on. It crosses the trestle there in the distance. So that was a good sized adit to produce this much waste rock, and I'm really sorry that it was caved, because that would have been really cool, apparently, judging from all the waste rock here, to check it out. Stop crushing the rock. So I'm back at this beast of a mill. I left off when I was up there last time, and this is the section of the mill that we have not explored yet. So let's get to it. There's another view of that hopper where the ore was taken to, and the conveyor system that took it up there. And here's a look inside this part of the mill. Pretty impressive. The view of the stairs just came up after being down there a moment ago. Those are the excavators there. And then the mill behind me here. I'm not sure what this piece of equipment was used for. But it's interesting nevertheless. And here's a look at that section we were checking out a moment ago from below. I'll head up this ramp here and see how it looks up there. Okay, I'm back looking at this rock crusher here, and as much of a layman as I am, I think I'm starting to get how this worked here. We started over in that mill, obviously, and I think that's actually the second half of the operation here. I think the way this worked is the very raw ore would come in off the ore carts and get dumped there and get run through here, crushed down, and taken over to that hopper there. From that hopper, it would run on the conveyor belt into that building there, where presumably it would be crushed more or somehow refined more. Then it runs out of that building there onto the conveyor belt there. That very large conveyor belt runs all the way up to the top of the mill building we explored, and it comes in and dumps in at the top of the mill building we explored and works its way down through all those flotation cells and such until it's finally refined enough that it ends up in those silos there, and from those silos then it gets trucked away to wherever people are paying for it. There's a closer look at that crusher, which I believe the jaw crusher, from what I can tell from this perspective. But it is a powerful one, that is for sure. That much I'm sure about. Let's look down to where we just were. And of course the conveyor belts and such right there. Take a look at some of the power boxes here. This is definitely starting to rust. Okay, back down on the ground after we were just checking out that building there. That big hopper is right there. You can actually still see some of the conveyor belt hanging down here. There's a view of it from this side. And you can see some of the trucks and other equipment that were left here, abandoned. I'm amazed they at least didn't take the trucks. You know what I'm saying? I mean, presumably that's a perfectly functional truck right there. But they weren't interested for some reason. And then behind us we've got this building where I believe the ore has been further refined and crushed. And so I will head in there that way. Okay, first look inside. As usual, there's a fair amount of sheep shit. And what do we have here? I cannot tell what that is yet. Some other equipment here. I don't recognize this equipment. Hopefully some of the audience will know what this this part of the process was, because I am not recognizing this stuff. I hear a big wasp buzzing around. It's making me a little nervous. And I got more stairs going up here. So let's see where this goes. Alright, I got some belts right here. Some controls and such here. Maybe somebody can make some sense of that. And there's a view out over the mill. There's the first part we explored there. And this looks like another giant ball mill to me. Somebody might correct me, but that's what it looks like to me. And then you can see some of the other components of the mill here. Sorry, the terrible light. That looks like some of the refined products right there. And of course you can see a chute coming down here. Some of the other machinery here. The control panel. That's a classifier. Apparently operates a classifier. If I tell you it's so bad, I'm not even going to try and pronounce these properly. But at least gives an idea of what was being done here. Here's a look at the closer look at the equipment here. That's looking back on the area I just came through. You can see there's similar equipment here that we have seen elsewhere in the mill. Not sure about that upper section. I didn't see a way up there. The floor has rusted completely out here, which isn't too reassuring for the section I'm walking on now. You can see one of the balls from the ball mill there, and then a bunch of bolts and pipe fittings and such there. And here's a look at things from this side. I bet this would have been real noisy when it was running flat out. Looking out this way, we've got more of the conveyor system here. It's an incredibly complex system. It's amazing that people are able to figure out how all this would work best together and to make it happen. Again, as at the other side of the facility, you can see the keys are still here. Just waiting for it to be turned back on. That was kind of a joke, actually. It would not be that easy to turn all this back on now. I was so focused on the equipment on the way in that I walked right past the stairs to the next level. So let's head up and check this out. Again, control box, and I'm not sure what this equipment was here either. Mills are not my specialty, guys. I think they're interesting, but I don't know the names and such of the equipment, or even what it all did. There's a view following that conveyor belt to that hopper there, and then there's that part of the mill there. Again, I think that's where the ore comes in initially. And then that's the dead cat tank right there. And the that building is where the power was controlled from up there. That's the building we were just exploring in front of us there. And again, there's that big hopper for point of reference. Some more trucks and equipment back here, along with the interesting graffiti and more of the conveyor systems. I'll go over there in a second. Just wanted to show you a quick look of this equipment here. These trucks have not been running in a while, that's for sure. And neither is that cat. Man, I wonder what happened to that. It looks like it got crushed. You know, like it rolled down a cliff or something. Not good from the looks of it. And this truck looks like it could use some work too. So, you know, as the rust is eating all the way through. More equipment here. There's a lot going on here. This would have been a big employer in the area. That's the area we were just checking out. And I'm now at the base of the mill where we started. That long conveyor belt I talked about going up the top of this one is there. And again, I think it fed the half refined, half processed material into the top there, where it would work its way through the all the equipment we saw before ending up in these silos down here. Very big silos down here. And then of course this is where the trucks and such would back in to pick up a load of whatever material was in these silos, you know, barite or fluoride or whatever.